Welcome to the new lecture where we are going to discuss the passing a structure into a function by value. So it means that we will copy a structure, we will copy the values inside the structure from one place in the memory and paste it into another space or place in the memory, and we will play with that space. So passing by value means that copying from one place in the memory to another and pasting it to another place in the memory. So let's see how can we pass the structure into a function, into a user-defined function by value. So here you can see we have a student structure defined by a programmer. So this structure has, the name of this structure is student. So student is user-defined data type. Okay, remember, in this data type has three variables: the ID, the name, and the OB, the obtained marks. Okay, then we have defined a user-defined function. This user-defined function return nothing, void, and the function name is print, P-R-I-N-T, print, with the parenthesis. While here you can see in the parameter, we have declared a variable st of type user-defined data type, which is student. Okay, so just like the normal variables, the primitive data types, where we write the integer a or float a or string s and etc. So just like that, we have used here the data type. This is the data type student, which is user-defined data type. Okay, and this st is the variable. So in the parameter list, now we have only one variable of the user-defined function. This user-defined function actually performed to print out the values inside this structure, this variable, st variable. Okay, so here you can see we have coded cout object with the operators, okay, and writing the st variable. Okay, this variable is also known as object, okay, of the structure student. Okay, so st is an object or variable with dot operator, and then we have called the member data member. Okay, so the data member of this structure is id, is name, and is ob. Okay, so we have called all these variables by using dot operator with the name of variable. So this variable, the object of student structure, the user-defined data type. Okay, so this function will catch the structure from main function or any other function from where we will call this function. Okay, and this function will actually catch and receive the copy of the student st, the student structure, and will be saved into the st variable, and then we are printing those values by using the data type, the variables that we have already defined and are available in the copy or of the object st. Okay, so let's see how can we call this from the main function. So this is the main function, and this is the body of the main function, where we have defined a variable, an object s1 of type student. Okay, now this s1 has a separate space, a separate place in the memory, has a separate reserve space in the memory. Okay, different from this the space which has reserved for the st. Okay, now through s1 we are accessing the data member and s1 object. Okay, so id, name, and ob, we are assigning values to the data member. So this is 2, this is Ahmad, this is 50, while assigning to the ob. And then here you can see we are passing this object, this is one object, into the print function. This is the print, user-defined print function. Okay, so it returns nothing as we have defined here, the void in the return type. Okay, so it will just print out the values in s1, actually not in s1. Okay, because this S1 will give a copy of the values that we have assigned here in S1, and that will be saved, the copy will be saved here in ST. Okay, so the values inside the ST and the values inside the S1 have two different spaces in the memory. Okay, so these are the two different objects reserved or placed in the memory in different places. Okay, so let's visualize these two different copies of the student structure in the memory. So let's suppose we have a memory here. You may also call it RAM. Okay, so when execution started, one object will be created for S1 object, okay, of the student structure, and another object will be created for the student structure but with the name ST. Okay, so let's assume that this is the RAM and has reserved a space for S1, which has ID, name and OB, obtained marks. There is another space in the RAM somewhere else which is reserved with the name ST. So these are the two different objects with the same properties, with the same data members, ID, name and OB. So this S1 is defined in the main function, and in the main function we are going to assign the values. So it means that ID will equal to 2, name will equal to Ahmed, while OB is assigned with 50. And then we are passing this object, S1 object, to the user defined function. So what actually happens behind is that the copy of these values, the copy of these values is assigned to this object in the ST here, in the ST. So we will see that ID is equal to 2, name is equal to Ahmed, and OB is equal to 50. So you have almost similar values in two different places. So you can play with S1 object in the main function and it will have no effect on the ST object. Okay, and you can change even the values inside ST object there in the user defined function, and that changing in updates will have no effect in S1, the object which is defined in the main function. So for example, if you want to change the value of ST here in the user defined function, just like by just mentioning ST dot ID is equal to 10. So it means that you are changing the value of ID inside the ST object and not inside the S1 objects. So you will see a change here in the ST object, while 2 will be replaced with 10. So similarly, you can change the value of other variables or data members of the ST object, okay? And that will have no effect of changing in the S1 object. So this concept actually knows that we are actually passing the structure by values to the function, okay, by copying the values to the function and pasting there in the ST function in another object, sorry. Okay, so this is how we can pass the structure passing to a function by value. Okay, so we will also discuss structure passing to a function by reference, where when we pass the object to the user defined function, that user defined function will also be pointing to the same object, the same location in the RAM where the object inside the main is actually pointing. So that is actually concept of the structure passing by reference. So we will cover this concept in the next lecture. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you have any question regarding the structure passing to a function by value, so you may ask those questions just by commenting below this video. So thank you very much.